This place changed my life. If you're on this channel, chances are you know what Daikoku PA is. But for the three of you who don't know, here's what it is. It's technically just a parking area. It's nothing more than that. It's just that for some reason, for the past 40-odd years, since the 80s, this place has been the hub of the car scene in Japan. So we talked about Daikoku in general, and now let's talk about something a bit more personal. Do you remember when I told you at the beginning of the video that this place changed my life? That wasn't just clickbait. I actually meant it. Honest to God, it changed my life. It was a time right after COVID, without going into too much details, lost everything, managed to get back on my feet, got a car, came to Daikoku for the first time, grabbed my, at that time, Instagram of 15, 16 followers, and decided to take a video and post it. Yeah, it didn't go viral. It's not that kind of story. But it made me understand that I really wanted to do more videos about cars. And I started coming to Daikoku literally every night, unless I was particularly sick. And this is where I made a lot of friends. This is where I learned more about the Japanese car culture to start with. This is where I got into other different side scenes of the car culture here in Japan. This is where everything started, and it was impossibly different from what it is now. And there are a few reasons, according to me, why this thing changed, and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I mean, it depends on the people. For sure, there are certain things about Daikoku that I wish were a little bit different. And for sure, I understand why they are not. Later, I'm going to show you what we call the Daikoku Loop, which is essentially a nice, don't race on it, but it looks like you could race on it, street that goes from Daikoku and ends in Daikoku on the highway without ever getting out of the highway. But let's get out of the way a lot of stuff that I'm sure you guys are thinking about. How do you get to Daikoku? Well, by car. There is no other way to get here. Do not walk here. Don't take a bus. Possibly don't take a taxi, because you will maybe end up being stranded. Another big question is, what can you expect to see? Well, you can expect to see just this. It's not going to be only JDM, of course, because let's immediately talk about that real quick. Japanese car scene is not only JDM. In fact, they're going to have a lot of muscle cars, Italian cars, and all kinds of cars. That's the beauty of the Japanese car scene, and Daikoku kind of reflects that. You're going to find JDM, yes, but you're going to find a whole bunch of other cars, and I'm going to show you in a second. How much is it going to cost you to come here? If you rent a car, it's going to cost you the rental, the gas, and the tolls. If you come here with a tour, and we'll talk about that maybe later, it's going to cost you the tour, and there is tour and tour, so it depends. Now, you see that building over there? That, which stretches all the way to the left there, that's the literal police station. Police has been here since the thing was built. And yes, save a few situations where the police really needed to intervene, you know, fights, burnouts, cars crashing, the police wouldn't intervene much. The police intervention really started a couple of years ago. In the meantime, let's go take a look at the cars. Okay, now let's talk a little bit with people that actually have been here at Daikoku for a while. So, 名前は?
Ichigo です。
Ichigo. Ichigo.
Ichigo.
知らなかった。Ichigo-chan は、そう、Daikokuよく来る？
よく来る。
いつからここに
3、4年ぐらい。
3、4年ぐらい。そう、今、Daikokuよくわかるでしょ。よく知ってるでしょ。
まあ
と思うね。そう、Daikoku前、そう、2年前、3年前から今、どうやって違う？
もう車の数も違うし、外国人の数も違うし、なんか盛り上がってます、最近。前の大黒は、なんかこんないろんな種類の車いなかった。
うん、本当に？
うん。なんか、VIP カーだったりとか、なんか、いろんな種類の車が今いるけど、
うん、
前はなんかドリフトカーとかグリップ オンリーとかそんぐらいしかいない。
Which day is the favorite for you?
Maybe Friday?
Friday. That is a good day.
まあでも最近は意外と月曜日とか木曜日が盛り上がってる気がする。
そう、僕も、そう、前は金曜日大好きだったけど、今ちょっと無理。Like,
ね、
ツーリストいっぱいいるし、
ね、
警察すぐ来るし。
すぐ閉まっちゃう、クローズシャットダウンしちゃうから。
Alright, what's your name? Are you dating? No, I'm joking, sorry. So, what's your name?
Isaac.
Isaac. So, how long has it been since you've been coming to Daikoku relatively frequently?
About 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
Would you say you noticed changes between what Daikoku used to be 2 years ago and the most recent Daikoku?
Yeah. So the more changes I've seen is like, yes, there's a lot more foreigners here. There is a lot more tour companies coming here. Yeah, there's still a lot of Japanese people, but back then it was mostly Japanese and tourists coming here. And also the closures not happening as often either.
You talk about the police intervening and
Yes.
stuff? Yeah.
So I do wish it was kind of back to back then, because I would be here until like 2 in the morning just here. I wouldn't even go anywhere else, just stay chilling with people. And
So, actually, that's one of the main questions that people ask to people like us. Like, okay, you go there to the car meet. What the hell do you do all day? What the hell do you do all night? So, what the hell do you do all day?
so just talk to people. Like I would try to start a conversation, even though my Japanese is not good. I still try, like, hey, like, I like your car, I want to talk about it, and then they'll want to talk about my car, and build a connection right there.
So it was like a hangout spot.
Yes, because before, like, it was still more chill. People also weren't as rev bombing how they were earlier, like, and also they closed up there, so all the people out there were drifting.
We were talking about the drifting. Yeah. Do you drift?
Yes.
And a lot of people are going to ask you, me, and they do, about these street drifting stuff, right? All right, now picture somebody texting you. They're like, hey, I want to see some street drifting in Tokyo. I want to leave the real Tokyo drift.
I tell them it's not like that. And street drifting is different from track drifting. So people that drift on the track, they don't really drift on the street. There are a couple few that do drift on the street, but it's 2 different groups. One is more secrecy, the other is more, stay on the track.
Right.
When people ask me about it, I just say, like, hey, like, I really don't know these other street drifters. I can't really tell you where it's gonna happen, where it's gonna go on. I just don't know.
All right, man. Look, I want to show these guys a little bit of Daikoku, but later on, do you want to go on the loop? I wanted to show them what the loop was like.
Yes.
All right, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
So one of the things that Isaac was talking about when we were chatting earlier is, well, you see here, this is the entrance to Daikoku, right? And, there's going to be a lot of cars piling up, but the exit is on the same line. So if you go back there, that's where people used to do, and still do sometimes, these very aggressive pulls. Let me show you. When you talk to people that used to come to Daikoku more often, many of them are going to tell you that it was, better before. It is significantly different, and I think you can point at many factors that made it so. One of the factors is right here, the trucks. Now, it's not the trucks' fault, don't get me wrong. This area here is trucks only. Technically, cars are not supposed to be here. Cars are not supposed to park here. Sure as hell, cars are not supposed to drive here. For example, that's not supposed to happen. He's not supposed to be here. Taxis are not supposed to be here at all, but they come now because there are more tourists, so there's more potential business. One of the things that started police intervention here was that trucks were complaining there was too much noise, too much chaos. Now, I don't know why they started doing so like 2 years ago, and they never complained about it, or very rarely did they complain about it in the previous 42 years. But they start doing it, which brought more and more cop intervention. At that time, it was nowhere near as bad as it is now. There's another factor too. If you are a car owner, especially if you are the owner of a car that you're particularly proud of, you understand the feeling of showing off just as much as I do, just as much as most people with cars like that do. And that component comes also in trying to do stuff that some people could consider cool, some people could consider dumb. You may notice here there are some skid marks, right? There was a time where people would come from there and they would pull as hard as they can and then drift right into this bad boy right here. As you can imagine, not everybody can control their car as well as they wish they could, and they would end up crashing right there where you see those orange pillars. The more car tried it, the more car wanted to try it. So they were doing burnouts, they were doing drifting, they were doing hard pulls to make noise and to sound cool, and they crashed. The more they crashed, the more cops showed up. So now one question that a lot of people might have rightfully, is it worth going to Daikoku anymore? Yeah, I think it's worth it. Now, I don't want to tell you whether it's better or worse than before. I'm not the judge of that. What I can tell you is that I liked it better before. I do understand that times change and Daikoku has changed with the times, and people like me really want to share in the culture. We want tourists to see this. We want people who are passionate to see this. We want people even who are not passionate to just think that cars are cool to see this. However, tourism is probably the main reason why right now Daikoku has become more problematic for people who live here. There was a time, I remember, when tourists started pouring in and there was no understanding of how they should behave here, that people would come here completely drunk, jump on cars, try to open cars that were not theirs, lay down in the middle of the street. Of course, the police is right there, and of course he's going to intervene. Now, on a fateful day, two guys had decided to take a bus, stop outside of Daikoku PA, walk onto the highway, jump that fence right there, or rather try to jump that fence right there because they were climbing it, to get into Daikoku. Fuji TV cameras were right on them. Now that blew up. I don't know if it's in proportion or out of proportion, but fact of the matter is that cops who were already shutting down the PA relatively regularly started shutting it down every Friday and every Saturday. We are now lucky if the parking area on a Friday or Saturday doesn't shut down at 8:30 sharp. Now actually started shutting down even at 8 p.m. Am I blaming tourists for that? No, that's not the point. People usually see these as a dichotomy. They see this as a black and white thing. It is not. It's not that we don't want tourists or tourists shouldn't be here. It's just that as a fact, when there were waves of tourists coming here that were not respecting the rules, that's what triggered the cops intervening. In Japan, it so happens that when the authorities intervene, they never let go, and that's the main issue. Right now, tourists are by and large very well behaved, but there's so many of them. And dude, for the love of God, these are streets. Don't stand in front of the street to take a picture of your favorite car. The car is going to be there 2 seconds later. Let cars pass through, because that's what makes the cops come out of this freaking building and pull in and clean out even earlier. Remember that. Come here, enjoy the cars, but stay the fuck out of the car's way. This place is for cars first, then people. The drifting spot is just up here, and dude, it was almost literally a balcony that we used to go and see drifting from, and it got so crowded they tried to figure out ways to block people from watching drifting. The rationale behind it was that if people don't watch, people don't drift, right? So at first, they had this little wall, right? At first they put not spikes, but like these little blade looking things on it. Didn't really help. People were actually using them to climb better. Then they put like a net up here, kind of like you see this fence right now. Instead, it was a big net. That didn't really work out well either. People cutting holes in it, or, you know, downright ripping it apart, go through anyway. Then finally, they put the metal apparatus, the metal fence that you see right there above the original walls. And then actually, finally, they fence it up further with these almost prison-like thing. Then people stopped watching drifting from here. I haven't been up here in at least a year since or maybe a little less than a year since they put this thing up. It's kind of nostalgic. The drifting was literally down here, and the police station was right at the corner. It was one of the most brazen acts of cop defiance that I've seen in Japan ever. And I don't think that they did this to stop the drifting. I honestly think that they did this to stop the watching. Like, too many people were crowding here. They used to do it for like 20 years, but nobody cared. They started caring. It's too bad. Daikoku wasn't and isn't the only place where we do car meets. So we started hanging out in other places like Tatsumi PA, Shibaura PA, right? UDX, oh my god, let's talk about that in Akihabara. Those places were some of the main hubs outside of Daikoku where people used to gather for, you know, this stuff. Now, almost all of them are almost impossible. Shibaura PA pretty much died out. UDX parking area in Akihabara died out because too many tourists used to go there. Police started coming continuously. The security at UDX started shutting us down. Even if we're just standing in front of a car with 2 cars parked, it became impossible. Don't go to UDX. People still ask me about UDX. It just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it exists. We don't do car meets. Tatsumi PA, which is another parking area that is pretty close from Daikoku PA, was another place where we used to go very often. It kind of resurrected recently, but for a time, almost dead. There is one problem with Tatsumi PA. Very often when Daikoku shuts down, so does Tatsumi. Am I saying that the car scene is dying? No, the car scene is very much alive, and it's just probably as cool as it was before. And if you were not here from the very beginning, chances are you're not really going to see much of a difference, right? But it has changed, and it is adapting. For a very long time, we haven't had the so-called underground meetups. Now we do again, especially because it's summer. Also, the underground meetups are not always underground. And that is a reflection of us wanting to do something. It's a reflection of wanting to maintain the scene alive, but you cannot be too nostalgic when it comes to Daikoku. Daikoku will change as we change, as social media changes. Now let's go on that damn loop. And here is the, I always called it Daikoku Loop. It's technically the Yokohama Kanjo or Yokohama Loop. And you know, they used to, that's my car, that's my car, that's my car, that's my other car. Anyway, they used to do street racing in, yeah, well, this is not the only place where they used to do street racing, of course, but it's one of the places where they used to do street racing. And you're gonna see why in a short minute it looks like it's made for it, whether it is or not. And I'm gonna show it to you.
名前はニックボーイって言います。
翔太郎です。
翔太郎、何の車を持ってるの？
スープラ。
MK5 でしょ？
Yes。
僕は Z33。KRD-Z。
いつから大学に来た？
僕は8年ぐらい前から。
8年前。
はい。
僕は5年ぐらい前から。
そう、今の大学と前の大学、
はい、
全然違うでしょ？どうやって違う？
人が変わったって言いますかね。やっぱこうアングラだった感じがちょっともうオープンになりすぎて、どんな人でも来ちゃうからちょっと荒れ始めてる。とかもう荒れてる感じがしちゃうっていうのはあります。
確かに日本人が多かったし、平日も空いてた。
どうして今の大学ちょっと悪くなったの？
ツアーとか始まったから、
僕的には終わんなくてもいいと思います。要はそれで、まあ来てくれることによって、まあ、経済回るし、で、やっぱこのカルチャー、この車カルチャーのメッカとしてやっぱ見たい人、来たい人いるんですよ。それはもうマナー悪い悪くない関係なしに。なんで、来てくれるのはいい。ただ、郷に行っては郷に従え。こう日本に来たんだったら日本のルール、マナーをある程度尊重してほしいのはあります。
外国は全くなくなるの可能性がありますが、どう思いますか？
まあ、このまま行けば、なくなることはないですけど、もう入ってこれなくなる。そういう改造車とかが入ってこれなくなる可能性はありますよ。
とかなんか夜は閉まっちゃうとか、
そう。
お昼は空いてる、夜は閉まっちゃう。
なるほど。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございま
ありがとうございました。あ
Thank you very much.
りがとうございます。
名前何ですか？
あ、ゆうたと申します。
ユタ。
ゆうたです。
ユタさんはいつから大国に来た？
大国、
何年前から
大国は3年前ぐらいですね。
3年前の大国。今の大国。違う？
ちょっと違うと思います。やっぱり観光客の方が増えた、ツーリストの方も増えて、結構盛り上がってる感じがする印象ですね。
なるほど。
前と比べて。
そう、
うん
前の大国と今の大国と違い。
どっちだろう。前の大国も好きなんですけど、今の大国はちょっと映画のワイルドスピードみたいな、東京ドリフトみたいな感じの雰囲気もあるから、ちょっと楽しみつつ、良くも悪くもっていう感じですよね。
なるほど。
そうですね。将来の大国どうですかね。もっと車が増えるのかなって思いますし、もっと人も増えると思うんで、楽しみっちゃ楽しみですよね。でもやっぱり日本の文化というか、こういうスペシャルな文化なんで、守りつつ海外の人たちに日本車の魅力も伝えながらいければいいかなって僕は思ってます。
そう、ユタさんは一番好きの時間、大国で。
僕は金曜日の夜か日曜日。
僕は全然違う。
違います。
全然違う。
違います。
僕はそう月曜日とか火曜日とか
月曜日火曜日。
10時後で。
はいはいはい。でもミッドナイトの方
誰もいない
が
のそう
いい。確かにそれはわかります。話したりとかするんだったら、絶対ミッドナイトの方が僕は好きです。ゆっくりで。これ乗ったのは5年前ぐらいですね、ちょうど。大国は3年前。
でもどうして？
それまではやっぱりちょっと怖かったんですよ、大国が。ちょっと行くのが。
Oh, interesting. なんで？
いや、わかんない。ちょっとなんかいっぱいすごい人がいて、やっぱり関東のここは大国パーキングはやっぱり有名な人がいたりとか、
そうですね。
そういうイメージが強かったんで、一人では行きづらかった。
I see. でも今は怖くないでしょ？
そう、全然怖くない。
Good, good. When I started taking videos, it was in that place. And there is two things that I like to say changed my life. One is the first car that I bought that I didn't need but I wanted, which is my Alfa Romeo Giulia. It's not a JDM yet. I know, shush. And the other thing is the place where I started shooting videos, Daikoku, because those videos eventually are what, yes, made my Instagram a little bit bigger than it was before. So I went from literally 50 something followers to like right now I think about 420,000 or something. But what really made a difference was that he showed me that I still had the same passion that I had as a kid. And I don't use this as a euphemism. The place itself had a vibe that really connected with me. There was something about it that I can't really put into words that reinvigorated me, made me want to do something new at an age that usually people stop doing something new. And that is what, for all intents and purposes, propelled everything that came after. While a lot of people have spent way more time than I ever will at Daikoku, I also found that in these 3 years that I've been going there frequently, it was like a magical place for me, and to this day still has a similar effect as when it was the first times that I was going there. So probably if you visit Daikoku PA for the first time, you're gonna feel kind of like I used to feel and kind of like I feel right now. And today specifically was really cool because I felt like Daikoku was like it used to be, especially towards the end of the video. But yeah, that's the thing, like Daikoku PA, I'll try to preserve it, I'll try to help it. I'm not against people using it to make money or using it to you know, promote whatever. I just wish that everybody who is going to Daikoku does it trying to preserve it, trying to respect the culture, and you will enjoy it if you go. You will. It's fun. If you like cars, and in my mind everybody likes cars, you will enjoy Daikoku. Just remember that it is one of those things that we need to kind of protect, because it is not impossible that it's going to go away, and I don't really want it to go away. But that's it. That's it, guys. So I really do appreciate you watching up until the very end. There's going to be more videos coming here. This is Lucio, aka Italian in Japan of RPM Generation, and I'm not looking at the camera because I'm driving. Be safe out there. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. There's going to be more coming. If there is anything that you want to see in particular that is related to the car scene here in Japan, let me know. Write it in the comments. We'll make it happen. Have a good night.